Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So yesterday I was watching this debate between Charlamagne the God and Stephen A. Smith, and they were talking about Colin Kaepernick. And Charlamagne was basically explaining why he decided to have Stephen A. Smith listed as the donkey of the day, because Stephen A. Smith basically said that Colin Kaepernick undermined his whole effort by announcing that he did not vote in the past election. So I want to take time to address this issue. I listened to the points that both of them made. It was a very short video. I will include the link in the description box so that you could watch it for yourself. But basically, Stephen A. Smith was saying, well, the best way that somebody can affect change is through elections. They can affect change that way, by electing the right kind of people to implement the right kind of policies. And basically he was saying that if someone is serious about trying to affect change, then they would advocate voting. And he also went on to talk about how, you know, his problem wasn't so much because of Colin Kaepernick deciding not to vote. His problem dealt with Colin Kaepernick announcing that he did not vote and indirectly encouraging others not to vote. So in response to that, Charlamagne the God cited the example of Malcolm X, and he basically said, well, Malcolm X was one of our greatest civil rights leaders, and Malcolm X said that people should sit on their vote as well. And he basically tried to use that to defend the stance of Colin Kaepernick. And he cited Malcolm X's Ballot or the Bullet speech. And, you know, I just want to provide my response. You know, I think that Charlamagne the God mischaracterized Malcolm X's speech. Malcolm X didn't talk about sitting on the vote. Malcolm X talked about black people controlling the politicians in the black community. In that speech, the Ballot or the Bullet, he talked about how decisive the black vote can be in the presidential elections, how it can determine who will be the president. The brother was talking about the importance of the vote in that speech. So I don't know what this guy Charlamagne is talking about. I think that he's exaggerating and he mischaracterized Malcolm X's speech. You know, because that's not what Malcolm X was saying. Malcolm X talked about political parties exploiting the black vote, like the Democratic Party, you know, putting black people last and black people putting them first. You know, and I think that that's a powerful point that is still relevant today. You know, so the brother wasn't talking about not voting. And then when you look at the modern day dynamics in terms of third parties, like the Green Party and stuff like that, you know, I just don't think that it makes much sense for people to sit on their vote. And I do agree that that undermines this message of pushing change, because you cannot affect any kind of change without changing policy, without changing laws. And the only way you change laws is by having elected officials implement and enact laws and policies that affect our lives. That's how you make a difference. But there are other ways to encourage politicians to make the right decisions. Protest is one way, you know, lobbying them, using your dollars to get politicians to be held accountable for their positions. So, you know, that's just my point. You know, I just think that overall, Charlamagne the God is wrong about what Malcolm X said. You know, Malcolm X obviously didn't agree that voting was the only answer, you know, and I wouldn't say that voting is the only answer. But in a democratic society, voting is a major way that you affect change. And because of the vote, you know, when people have options, when they exercise those options, the people no longer have to take up arms to change government. People can elect the right kind of politicians. And I think that what people need to do is really push for a third party. They need to try to elect third-party candidates, you know, when opportunities present themselves. You know, so that's my position. You know, I don't think that you can change the problem of police brutality just by protesting. I think that you actually have to have laws implemented, policies changed. You have to have lawsuits filed against police departments, and you have to have consent decrees ending discriminatory practices. And all that is tied to electoral politics, because the electoral politics that we're involved in, they shape everything. Who is the Attorney General matters. This election makes that very clear. We have a Jeff Sessions as the U.S. Attorney General. This man is talking about how consent decrees undermine the police. This man is talking about reviewing all consent decrees that are designed to protect black people from the police, designed to end discriminatory practices. So these elections obviously matter. And as we get more and more into this Trump administration, people are going to see that. People are going to realize that. And you're going to realize how misguided many of those talking heads were that told you not to vote. So overall, you know, I agree with Stephen A. Smith. And one thing that Stephen A. Smith was saying was that he didn't disagree with Colin Kaepernick and his protests. He didn't disagree with that at all. He supports that. And I support it too. But on the point of voting, you know, I disagree with Colin Kaepernick's position. As I said in the prior video, when that issue first emerged, you know, I still support the brother. I stand with the brother. But on the issue of voting, I adamantly disagree with him. And, you know, I just think that we need to use every single tool that is available to us to make a difference. So those are my thoughts. Tell me what you think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.